Hey, Tammy and Mark, I'm going to send you guys a couple photos, but I'm going to run through the roofing things we spoke about yesterday and some of the common reasons why the carriers or why there's an issue with an insurance claim specific to failures in the insurance claim or the roof claim. So I'm going to use an example and let's see if I can switch this around. So the example I'm going to use is a scenario, a claim scenario, okay? The scenario is $1 million roof, okay, where the insurance company depreciates $250,000 or 25%, gives an actual cash value of $750,000. Then on that same roof, there could be code upgrades, ordinance and law coverage for another $250,000. This is backwards on your thing, I know, so no worries. So in the scenario of $1 million, $250,000 depreciation, $750,000 actual cash value, and $250,000 with code. So that becomes a $1.25 million job, okay? But understanding the insurance company does not give depreciation up front, and they don't pay the code till it's incurred. So what happens is you're not getting, but the payment, the ACV of that job of 1.25, you would get $750,000 less the deductible up front. So if you have a $100,000 deductible, you're getting $650 up front for a $1.25 million job. So what happens is you get $750 up front. Let's just say for this discussion, it's a $50,000 or $5,000 deductible. So we'll ignore the deductible for this scenario. So you get $750 up front. Then when you are 100% complete and you have a contract for the million or the 1.25 million, and you can show that you owe the roofer the other $250,000 or $500,000, then you can get your recoverable depreciation, but the job has to be done. Then code is when it's incurred. So there's a way, if code is involved in insulation and you're adding insulation or you're doing something else, you can actually incur the code in like the first phase of a job and then bill for that and free up a little bit of money. So now that's a scenario that I'm going to work off of, and I'm going to go over 5 different scenarios of why you have a problem with insurance companies. So the first is high deductible. So unrelated to the job, a roofer may say, hey, I'm 1.25 for this job, but they may have a 5% deductible. It's not 5% of the 1.25, it's 5% of how much they're insured for. So this insured could have a $250,000 deductible. So out of my scenario of 1.25 where you get $750 up front, you're really only getting $500 up front, or $500,000 deductible, you get $250 up front. So one scenario of a failed claim, or what may appear to be a failed claim, is a high deductible. The other is actual cash value only, and that's a scenario where the insured can never recover the recoverable depreciation. So that 25%, that $250,000 in this scenario is never going to be realized because they have an ACV policy. The third is coinsurance. If there's a formula, if somebody's not insured to value and they don't meet their coinsurance requirements, they get a penalty. So we have times where the insurance company is agreeing to the roofer's number, but there's a 60% penalty, so they're only going to pay 40% of the value. Sometimes it looks like the insurance company is being unreasonable, but they're actually being accurate. Number 4 is no code coverage. So it's possible that they don't have coverage for code, and they're never going to realize that. So if you have an ACV policy in our scenario and you have no code coverage, you're only getting the $750 less deductible. You're never getting the recoverable $250 or the code upgrade. And the 5th reason is just the insurance company doesn't want to pay. And that is a very typical model, holding all the other things aside. Even when you have an ACV only or a coinsurance penalty and no code coverage, insurance companies a lot of times still don't want to pay. So that's its own separate argument. So these are and I'll take a picture of this and send it to see I have it right. So high deductible, windstorm deductible, named storm deductible, hurricane deductible, ACV only, could be up to 40% if it's a poor condition roof. And depreciation is a deduction for age, condition, and obsolescence. Co-insurance penalty, we've seen up to 80% co-insurance penalties. No code coverage, and insurance company just doesn't want to pay. So that's your quick tutorial. If you watch this video, then we'll get on a call and drill down on the items. Normally, as you guys know, when we're doing when there's a claim or there's damage and somebody's making a claim, we review the policy, we go through, we identify all the coverage buckets, we identify any shortfalls, and then we help identify what issues could be. In the scenario of you have replacement cost only, you have no co-insurance penalty, and you do have code coverage, my recommendation is just have the client give a deposit, have the roofer do the roof, have them pay the roofer, and then I get the insurance company to pay it, even though they don't want to pay that number or they can't get to that number to exactimate. So holding actual real issues aside, carrier owes, if the roofer doesn't get involved in the roofing claim and they just do the job, then it gets paid, or we get it paid, but it's a different argument. I'll talk to you in a bit, guys. Thanks.